Okay, so you want to own an automated teller machine fleet. You buy a few heavy metal boxes, plug them into the walls of some busy local gas stations, and listen to the sweet sound of cash dispensing. You check your phone application every morning before work and watch the $3 surcharge fees roll in, completely on autopilot. You think you have just bought a foolproof money printing machine. You have just bought a heavy metal logistics nightmare, and I'm going to show you exactly where the profit actually goes. We are going to look at the real appeal of this business, the brutal physical reality of moving paper money, and how a slight drop in daily foot traffic completely destroys your margin. Most people think owning an ATM is about selling cash. That is not quite right. Owning an ATM is actually about renting out convenience. Think of a standard kitchen pantry. If you are baking bread and realize you need flour, you could drive 20 minutes to the massive supermarket where flour is cheap. Or you could pay double the price at the tiny corner shop right next door. The corner shop is not selling flour. They are selling the 20 minutes you save. An ATM works exactly the same way. You are charging a convenience fee to save someone a physical trip to their actual bank. You are taxing their impatience. The psychology behind this business model is very appealing because it creates an illusion of complete automation. You look at a machine, you see the customer push a button, and you see the machine hand over the product. Because the final step is automated, you assume the entire business is automated. You assume it is passive income, exactly like selling a digital software subscription. This is a trap. The front end of the machine is digital, weightless, and automatic. The back end of the machine is entirely physical, heavy, and analog. Software can scale infinitely without requiring you to drive across town. A metal box cannot. When a digital product sells, it duplicates itself. When an ATM dispenses a $20 bill, that bill is gone, and a human being has to physically drive a vehicle to put another piece of paper back into that slot. Let us break down the actual economics of putting just one machine in a store. According to the ATM Industry Association, setting up a standard independent machine involves 4 distinct, unavoidable costs. First, the hardware itself. According to industry equipment suppliers, a standard, freestanding retail machine costs exactly $2,500 to $3,500 to purchase, program, and bolt to the floor. This does not include the cost of a specialized technician if you cannot install it yourself. Second, the communication and processing network. You pay around $15 to $20 every single month for a secure wireless router connection. Plus, your network processor takes roughly 10 to 20 cents per transaction just to route the encrypted data between the machine, the central banking servers, and the customer's specific checking account. Third, the location split. The owner of the grocery store is not letting you use their valuable floor space for free. They know they control the actual commodity you need, which is reliable, daily foot traffic. You must pay them a cut of every single withdrawal, which generally runs between 50 cents and $1 per transaction. If your machine does exceptionally well, they will often renegotiate and demand a larger cut because they know moving the heavy machine to a new store will cost you hundreds of dollars. Fourth, the vault cash. This is your physical inventory. Based on Federal Reserve studies on consumer withdrawal habits from the Diary of Consumer Payment Choice, a standard machine needs roughly $5,000 to $10,000 in actual paper bills sitting inside the metal box at all times, so customers can actually withdraw money. That fourth cost is where the passive income dream usually falls apart. That money sitting in the machine is dead capital. You either have to use your own cash savings, which means that money is no longer earning a 5% yield in a high-yield savings account, or you have to borrow that cash from a commercial lender and pay them a monthly interest rate for the right to hold their money in your machine. You also have to physically transport that cash. Moving large amounts of paper money requires security, fuel, and time. You take on all the physical risk of robbery or loss, while moving cash from your local bank branch to the retail store. Consider the case of Cardtronics and their acquisition by NCR. Cardtronics was the largest independent ATM operator in the world. In June 2021, The technology giant NCR finalized an acquisition of Cardtronics for exactly $2.5 billion. At the time of the sale, corporate filings showed Cardtronics operated around 285,000 machines globally. Their success was not built on charging individual people higher fees at the gas station. Their core mechanism was entirely different. They built a network called Allpoint. Instead of forcing the person standing at the machine to pay a $3 fee, Cardtronics negotiated directly with the large retail banks. They convinced the banks to pay Cardtronics roughly $1 to $1.50 per transaction so that the bank's customers could use the machines for free. They shifted the financial burden from the individual to the institution. The most profitable convenience fee is the one the consumer never actually sees. The same cash logistics trap does not only threaten traditional bank ATMs. It recently took down one of the largest players in an adjacent kind of cash machine entirely. Look at the case of Bitcoin Depot, once the largest cash dispensing kiosk network in North America, operating 9,276 kiosks across the United States, Canada, and Australia. In May 2026, the company filed for voluntary Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection and immediately took its entire kiosk network offline. Quarterly revenue had fallen 49.2% year over year, and the company posted a $9.5 million net loss compared with $12.2 million in net income the year before. Weeks before the filing, the company disclosed it could not file its own quarterly financial statements on time because of a material weakness in its cash-in-transit reconciliation process, its own admission that it could no longer reliably track physical cash moving between locations. A restructuring advisory covering the collapse noted that the traditional model had always depended on unusually high fees to offset the true cost of cash logistics, compliance, and revenue sharing, and once regulators forced those fees down, the business could no longer hide how expensive it actually is to move physical value from place to place. If you do not control the supply chain and the capital behind it, the supply chain eventually consumes your profits. To see exactly how fragile this business model is for a normal person, we need to look at the math. Imagine you are sitting at a table with a blank piece of paper. We will run the numbers on a small fleet of 5 machines. We will look at 2 versions, the optimistic scenario and the realistic scenario. Here is the optimistic scenario. You buy 5 machines for a total hardware cost of $15,000. You fund the vault cash using $30,000 of your own personal savings. So your interest cost is $0. The daily volume is strong. Each machine averages 10 withdrawals a day. Across 5 machines, that is 50 total transactions daily. Your surcharge fee is $3. Your gross daily revenue is $150. Now we subtract the costs. You subtract the merchant location split of 75 cents per swipe, which removes $37.50. You subtract the network processing fee of 15 cents per swipe, which removes $7.50. Your daily net revenue is exactly $105. Over a 30-day month, your monthly net revenue is $3,150. Because things are going well, you have the free time to drive your own personal car to refill the machines once a week, spending just $100 a month on fuel. Your final net profit is $3,050 every single month. In less than 5 months, you have completely paid back your hardware investment. Now, we change exactly one variable. The locations do not get as much foot traffic as you expected. Here is the realistic scenario. You buy 5 machines for a total hardware cost of $1 cent. You fund the vault cash using the same $30,000 of your own personal savings. So your interest cost remains $0. The daily volume drops. Each machine averages just 3 withdrawals a day. Across 5 machines, that is only 15 total transactions daily. Your surcharge fee is still $3. Your gross daily revenue is now $45. Now we subtract the same categories of costs. You subtract the merchant location split of 75 cents per swipe, which removes $11.25. You subtract the network processing fee of 15 cents per swipe, which removes $2.25. your daily net revenue is exactly $31.50. Over a 30-day month, your monthly net revenue is $945. You still have to drive your own car to refill the machines, spending the same $100 a month on fuel. Your final net profit is $845 a month. Look closely at that difference. The hardware cost was the same. The vault cash was the same. The surcharge fee was the same. By simply dropping from 10 people a day to 3 people a day, your monthly profit collapsed from over $3,000 to under $900. That is the reality of a volume-based business. And this assumes absolutely nothing goes wrong. This assumes no receipt, paper jams at 10 o'clock on a Friday night. This assumes the card reader does not fail, forcing you to pay a specialized technician $150 for a service call. This assumes the store owner does not call you demanding a $1.25 split instead of a 75-cent split because a competing operator walked in and offered them a better deal. When you make only $845 a month across 5 locations, a single $300 repair bill wipes out nearly half your monthly income. You are earning part-time minimum wage for taking on the extreme liability of holding tens of thousands of dollars in cash inside public retail stores. The deeper principle this all points to is that an ATM fleet is not a passive technology investment. It is an active arbitrage game built purely on foot traffic and logistics, where you are constantly fighting the physical friction of moving paper money from one place to another. Every step of that physical movement eats into your margin. The large corporate operators win because they negotiate free transactions with the major retail banks, or because they own the actual armored trucks that move the vault cash. They win on massive scale and tightly controlled logistics. The practical takeaway here is simple. If you want to build wealth in this specific industry, do not buy a machine unless you already own the physical location where the foot traffic happens, or you possess a clear, unfair advantage in how you transport the cash. If you own a busy gas station, buying your own machine is brilliant because you keep the merchant split and you are already standing there every single day to refill the vault cash. But if you're paying retail prices for your machines, paying retail prices for your internet connections, and splitting fees with a landlord you do not control, you are taking on all of the physical risk for a tiny fraction of the reward. You are never buying a passive metal box. You are buying a highly active, highly sensitive logistics job. So before you plug that machine into the wall and wait to hear the sweet sound of cash dispensing, make sure you know exactly how much it costs to get that cash inside there in the first place,